My name is Christian Faber. I'm a creative director. I've been working with creativity professionally for 30 years, and I've been drawing all my life. So I'm gonna try to take you on a journey, on a creative journey. It's mostly gonna be inside the brain. It's gonna be into different worlds, and hopefully we can end up at a place where everything has a meaning and a purpose. But first, I want to get us on the same page, because I see the brain as a totally different thing than many medical studies would show. So let me take you to the creative brain. You have the left side and the right side, and you decide what kind of specialities each side has. Because what I'm going to show you is going to change the way you look, hopefully. I want to split it up, because definitely they have different capabilities. But if you think about it like having one side as the known, one side as the unknown. And I guess the known one is a bit smaller than the unknown. Because if you place them in horizontal and you call one of them the boat and the other one the sea, then you sort of get the glimpse of what this theory will, because this is about the journey of creativity and the journey of life. And I see it as a journey on a boat. You're staying on a boat, you're collecting all your knowledge, you're safe there, you can get into rough water, you can be thrown around, you can basically also turn upside down and drown. But this visual representation of a boat makes so much sense. And then, of course, you can place your boat in the water and you can start using the water. Most people use it as sort of recreation. So they get the boat to rock a bit, they get input and so on, and they stay on the boat, but they get sort of the sense of what this fantasy can do. But if you are creative, then there's no other way, there's no way around it. You need to jump into the sea. Well, this is just another representation. If you're not creative, then your boat is basically stuck. So I think that's a pretty sad way of using creativity. But this is the way I see the ocean, the sea of creativity. It's like a vast, endless world of adventure, of things that you don't know yet, discoveries and so on. And you have this tiny little boat that you can jump off, but you can actually also manage to live in the water. And you can get all these impressions, and you can sort of sometimes come back to the boat. This explains why I can sometimes have a little trouble to get back to reality, because I'm basically swimming around in amazing wonders. So getting back to a certain time, to a certain meeting with the bank or whatever, can be a bit of a hustle. But I found out the perfect tool when you're in this body of water is the pencil. It's so simple, but it can actually depict what you see. It can bring it back. It's like the treasures of this open ocean can be actually brought back, and it can be displayed to people or as stories. So doing visuals of what you see in your imagination is quite fantastic. And there's another mix that's really, really cool. This is me at 4, and this is me at 50. So it's sort of, you're building your skill, you're building your ability to depict what you need. You're sort of getting to move on your pencil inside this fantasy world. Well, what actually made the whole thing make even more sense was that I discovered this science adventure, which actually takes place in sort of a fantasy world, but it's built on science. So this combination of having science and actual knowledge, and scientists going out into explore new worlds, which could be space or underwater or nature as a whole, mixed with this adventurous feel, that is just the best combination. So that is what I started out at, and I was sort of all the time searching, is it possible to live from this ability? There was not much hope, I would say. It was most looking in the books, getting all the normal knowledge, but at a certain point, I actually discovered this fantastic vehicle. It's a vehicle you can get, you can crawl inside, you can be safe, and you can move around in the fantasy world. And you can actually live from this place. It has, when you're in fantasy, you are sort of on your own. You are in the middle of the ocean, and all your fantasy stuff is can be pretty difficult to make a living from. But the advertising submarine was the perfect place for me. But imagining the year of '86, I landed my dream job. By pure chance, I went into an agency not knowing anything about advertising, not knowing what my role would be. I just wanted to draw. And I was so lucky. I think it was one of the last days where I walked around to the agencies of Copenhagen, and I came upon this a smaller agency. I didn't actually know it. I took the biggest one in the phone book, which was the place to go at that time. And this one was actually not one of the big ads. But I came in, and by pure chance, they actually took me in, because this was an agency that was built on play. It was built on visual representation. It was fantastic. And the greatest client was there, Lego. So it couldn't be any better. I landed my dream job. But at the same time, there was like a shadow. There was like a mix between good and bad, because I started to get a little dot on my retina. I remember looking at my alarm clock, getting up in the morning, and focusing on the numbers on the alarm clock. I actually couldn't see them. It was like the center of my eyesight was disappearing. But actually, you have two blind spots in your eye, where the nerve of sight goes out from the retina. But mine was just growing. This was really, really not good going into the visual sort of industry. So I went into a new kind of world, which was finding my blind spot and actually finding my weakness. And one of the best places to do this, that's in a hospital. So going into one of these, it was discovered that I had a tumor. It was actually sitting in the most difficult place to get to in the human brain, just next to the pituitary gland that produces all the hormones and so on. It was pressing on this gland, and it was pressing on my visual cord, which make this black dot appear on my eye. So now a really, really strange journey started, because half of me was in the advertising business in the 80s, which was really, really a fun place. It was a party time. The creative business was booming. And the other half of the time, I was going to hospital, and I was getting these special pills that I had to take. Yeah, and this is the place of the tumor. Let's just say that I invented this new rule of nature, because that was what I was in the middle of, and it was sounding survival of the weakest. Because every morning I would come to work, I would actually sneak into the bathroom, and I would take this toilet roll, put it under my head, and try to stay there for half an hour or maybe an hour, because my stomach was totally in agony. And I was starting to sort of come out of this zombie phase around noon. And then in the afternoon and evening, I would be creative and be really cool, and then I would take a pill again. I had the saying, to be or not to be, that's actually a matter of chemistry. Because this body, everything is controlled by chemicals and so on. But lying there on the floor of the bathroom in the agency, I think my brain must have made some strange combinations, because some years later, we had to come up with a big story for a Lego theme, and it came the name came out of actually Biological Chronicle, which was what I had experienced. And the story was about these heroes arriving on a strange island in canisters, which strangely resembled the capsules I was eating each morning. And the secret was that underneath this island, there was a face of a giant lying there dormant with a virus in the body. So these small soldiers inside the capsules had to go and find this virus and make the giant stand up again. So that was really a personal story, but it would become this legend, and it would have great possibility because it had the story engine inside. But actually living this dream of creating your own concept and playing with Lego, I was starting to develop another blind spot. And I think it's basically a common thing for humans, the human blind spot. It's sort of the thing that we don't want to really realize. It's sort of dark, but in some way we can't stop looking at it. It's like the door you're not allowed to open, and suddenly it becomes the most interesting thing. And I think it contains our weakness. So being able to face our weakness can actually make us much more human and can connect us in a different way than we ever been before. And I think right at this point in time, this is actually a picture I did when we started the pandemic and we had the lockdown. I had this feeling of the whole human race being on this cruise ship in the middle of the ocean. And as Jacques Cousteau said, we're all in the same boat, and we literally are. And understanding this is so important for our future. And actually, if you look at this picture, you can find yourself, no matter where you are on the globe, you will be represented somewhere. We have the bridge up here with the politicians. We have the third world that is under the waterline. And we have all our waste that's just going backwards. But of course, the earth is round, so we will probably meet it again. And then we have these small, strange dots that comes drifting in from the future. So everybody is on this boat, except a group of people, and that's the future generations that haven't been born yet. They are not on this boat. So we have the responsibility. And I think the storytellers are the ones that can move outside the boat, look at it, and actually tell stories about making change. So I think creativity has to really get its game together. We creatives have to unite. We have to go together on a quest for humanity. And that also calls for a new name, because I think we should move away from the hero. The hero is the individual that takes care of everything and wins the battle and kills the bad guy. I think 2021, we need to go for a new name, and that's Vero. It's both the weak hero, but it's also, emphasizing that we are together in this. We need to tell stories that bring people together around the campfire, like in the old days. And now we have a new challenge that we need to face, and we need to rally around. And actually, our boat is this tiny planet in the middle of a solar system, and the future is the ocean we are sailing around it. So we have the obligation to tell new stories. So I'm just calling everybody, creatives unite. We have the greatest inspiration in the global goals, and we have a partnership for the goals, which is really, the stories are the only thing that can combine us all across, age and profession and religion and everything. The stories are what will create the future. So the future story I'm trying to create, it's a story for everyone. It's a story for the future. It's called Rebel Nature, because the future generations, they are looking at us. They are demanding that we start telling new stuff that can inspire the future generations. So what I'm saying is, look into your ocean of creativity and look deep. We need to get together around creating new stories for the future, because this is an amazing place and time where we can actually make change that matters. So let's start and push the start button. Thank you.